Hey guys, welcome to Feature Creatures DTF. I'm one half of your host, Jordana, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Sam.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
Hope you're all doing well, prepping to go into the ho-ho holidays,
Oh,
December.
fuck December. Uh,
I mean, I think you're biased.
yes, for multiple reasons, but
Mhm.
yes.
Yes, but it's such a weird because it's like a love-hate relationship because I do like love the holidays for like family purposes, but internally I'm like, meh.
I love the 2 day. Well, I mean, depending on what you're celebrating, but for me, it
Yes,
would be Christmas and Christmas Eve and Christmas. Yes, I love those 2 days, but
yes,
the basically the 2 months leading up to it can kiss my ass. Like not just because I work peripherally with retail, but like
hmm
also like my birthday's in December, so I'm getting older every time, and it's cold, and it takes forever to get everywhere. You got to spend a
yes.
bunch of money. Like,
I know. And that's the thing. It's like it's funny to like have it when you're younger to when you're an adult because yeah, you love December because you get all these gifts and you get to, eat and not have to worry about cooking, picking up, doing any of that shit, right?
yeah,
And then you get to open up all your
and you
gifts.
get like a week off at school.
Yes. Oh my God. Vacations are so long for my kids' school. And I don't remember it ever being that long for me. I remember it was like a couple days and I was like,
I think it was a week for me. There might have been a time when it was 2 weeks, but it was I think a week was like by the time you were in high school, it was like a week. But I mean, obviously, different things.
yes, yes. And then like also too, like, cause it's so quick, so close to New Year's. So they get like that week and then they get like 3 extra days. So
Oh, okay, so then they just like roll it into the next.
yes, which is smart. I mean, if I were a teacher, I'd be like, let's roll that shit.
Well,
Let's
fuck
keep,
yeah. And you're a
let's keep
kid,
going.
you're like, fucking, let's go. Like,
I know. But so, I mean, December has its ups and its downs. And to anyone that enjoys it, love that for you. But I mean, we're cresting into November or December. So November was kind of a good month. I mean, we just had Thanksgiving. How was yours?
it was good. It was a fine Thanksgiving. Half my family got COVID, so that was like immediately afterwards. So like everyone had to go like test, so that
Yeah.
was fun. I still COVID free since 2019, so
Whoop, whoop. That's amazing. No, did you ever have it?
not that I'm aware of. I got really, really sick after a convention, like
Mhm.
when COVID was like sort of like people were like joking about it, like ha ha ha, it's gonna be a thing. And I remember someone telling me because I'm a germaphobe, and they were like, you should maybe wear a mask when you go. It was a comic convention, and we're like
Mhm.
thousands of people, and I was like, fuck, I'm not wearing a mask. And then I was on the couch for like a week afterwards. Could have
Oh,
just been a regular cold, but like
yeah.
my doctor was like, you might have had COVID. Like,
And it's that weird, like that weird phase in the beginning because I remember it's so weird, like talking about COVID because I remember that's when we moved and like the whole football team in a county over like got sick and they're like, oh, it's this like bad respiratory virus, and then like Greg and Roz got sick and it was just chaos. It's just weird to think of how it was then to now.
yeah, definitely. I think I'll be honest with you. I think a huge part of it comes from just the name because originally it was just the coronavirus, and then
Yeah.
everybody was just like, ha, 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 let's joke about it. And then it became like, if
COVID.
they had named it like Death Muncher or something like that, they might have had like, but I think it was like too funny. So everybody like didn't take it serious. And yeah, and I'll be honest with you, it's sort of ravaging the area by us right now.
Is
Like,
it?
oh, like real bad, like real,
Damn.
real bad. Like I go into work. The other day I went into work and I don't know, on an average day, there's like maybe 15 of us.
Mhm.
9 people called off.
Oh my God, Sam, that's crazy.
Yeah. And like I said, literally, I think there was like 8 or 9 of us
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving, and 5 of them, the like 2 days later tested positive.
Damn, I'm sorry that that happened because it's nice to be able to have like the holidays and not either be sick beforehand or get sick.
Yeah.
So I am sorry about that. We had like a soup. It was just the three of us, and it was so nice to go at our own pace and wake up when we wanted to and hang out in comfy clothes. I loved it.
Aren't
It was
those the
great.
best kind of holidays? I love those holidays, just non-stress holidays whatsoever. Just like,
Super simple. Yeah.
I think this is actually the first year we did things like a real like a big Thanksgiving since COVID. Like it's pretty much been like a real small thing since then. And like not that I didn't mind, I loved seeing my family, like it was great, but there's also something to be said about just having like that smaller, more intimate, just like let's just chill, maybe get a fucking pizza or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
do the dishes that you want instead of like, some people, they keep it super traditional and they keep, but sometimes it's nice to add a little spice and have variety. And like Greg made awesome like snacks while he was cooking, because he pretty much like ripped it out. He was a champ. He's the cooking MVP. But like just had some drinks. He had spiked eggnog. I had Aperol spritzes. It was just so fucking nice. I loved it.
Sounds nice. Yeah. This is my Friday, and I broke my thing 3 weeks into it, and I don't care.
When we were talking after my computer died, and then I came back on, I saw that, and I'm like, that looks like a really big bubbly. And then I saw the M, and I'm like, oh, that's a Modelo.
I'm like, you know what? I can do 1 day a week. I can do 1 day a week now.
I had to give my liver a fucking break because we drank pretty much the whole time. And I was like, I am going to just chill.
Yeah, I took like 2.5, 3 weeks off. And then I was like, okay, let's just take it back to like 1 day a week or special occasions. Like obviously my birthday's coming up in just a few days here. And I'm like, I'm getting boo.
I love it.
I'm going to drink until we turn back time.
Share. If I could turn back time. No, let me guess what the day is. Is it the 3rd?
No, only 1 day off.
4th?
Nope.
2?
Yes.
Or
it would have been great if you were like 5.
No, I would have. My computer would have died again, and I just would have exited the chat. But that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yes, we'll have a birthday cheers. But so we tonight we both went and saw Thanksgiving.
Yes, and it's been 16 fucking years coming. And we
finally got it.
So excited to hear your thoughts on it. Hear my thoughts. We're going to talk about slashers in general and where they're at.
Yes.
But like every movie, every time we've seen a movie that's gone to theaters, which I think is only one other time, which was Scream 6. We always talk about our experiences in the theater. How were your experiences in the theater? And also, we're going to talk about trailers, because some of the trailers that I saw were fucking nuts.
I know. And I was the same way. I'm like, wait, is this an actual, like the one that I remember? Because I know as we talk, I'll remember all the ones, because there was like 35 minutes. Roz is like, when is this movie starting? I'm like, I don't fucking know. It was literally like 45 minutes. It seemed like, but
it's at least a solid half an hour. I timed it. It's like before. I didn't time it this time, but when I saw Haunted Mansion, it was a straight like a half an hour on the dot, was like beginning trailer, end trailer.
And you know what? I don't ever remember trailers being this long before. Even like 2017 era, like in the later teens. I don't remember trailers being this long.
I think it's because they like literally like, because our attention spans are so short-sighted now with phones and we can skip ads and shit. This is like the only place that they can be like, we've got you by the nuts and you ain't going nowhere.
You sit and you watch this.
You're gonna listen to Nicole Kidman talk about the same theater you're sitting in already.
Oh my god! And you know who we have is Marissa Menounos.
Oh, I have her for movie to me or whatever it's called.
Yes, and she laughed. She did her laugh, because you know how her laugh's kind of. And I looked over and I told Roz and Greg about this is so sidebar, but I have to say it, the Justin Bieber interview when he was like super young, and she was like, and he's smiling at her. He's like, you sounded real cute when you did that. And then he mocked her and he did it, and he was being so serious. I love that. It's not like a meme, but I love that video. I watch it like numerous times.
I sort of get a kick out of her, but yes, I'm always like, come on, can we just not do this in the theater? Like, it'd be one thing if you were asking me trivia that it was mildly challenging. It's like, I always think of like Family Guy, where it's like, who was in, Forrest Gump, T space M H space NKS, and he's like, Tim Honks.
I know it's like, come on now.
Yeah,
But yes,
it's always stupid.
the trivia is fun. But so the theater experience was we had uh a sold out theater, which
Mhm.
was awesome. And I was
Hell yeah.
bummed because I wanted to go see it Thanksgiving Eve, but I waited too long and that one was sold out. So like that was super promising to me that it was going to be like a fun well, I say that I was scared and excited because Roz went with us. Greg and I made the decision that we were going to take her.
I saw that. That was a little bit of a gamble, right?
Yes, it was. But I asked like people who already saw it, and I was like, is there like, a lot of nudity, stuff like that? Because she's pretty good with like knowing that shit's fake. You know what I mean? She knows
Yeah.
like Art the Clown's fake and she knows it's all special effects. So she told me she's more scared of like host and paranormal activity. So
And I think ultimately, I mean, by the way, we will give a spoiler alert when we start talking spoilers. But I think ultimately, I mean, granted, I know you've let her watch Terrifier, right?
she has seen like just clips. Like I haven't like she hasn't sat down and like watched the movie, but she's watched like the pizza scene in the first one. Like I won't let her watch the JJ ripping because that's
Well,
a
let's go
little
one.
bit yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit much. But like she watched the people are probably gonna be like, oh my God, the
No,
Halloween
fuck those
scene.
people.
I know, like I would never like sit my kid down and be like, you have to watch this and traumatize her. But the Halloween shop scene in two,
Yeah.
she loves it when the guy yells at him and he pops up and he's like and makes the face. She loves that. Yeah, and then smashes his brains in. She's like, that's so cool. So I don't know, like it was fun to go see it with her.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it's a great one to see because I know you and she are big fans of the Scream franchise with
Yes.
some mixture, but I mean, and I will say this up front, I think this is as close to Scream as we're getting.
Yes.
And also like it was fun. Like it was again, like you said, like you've said this before, there's a difference between like doing pretty graphic things, but if you're doing them in a way that's so like it's so over the top that like it's just it doesn't phase that section of your brain.
No, and it was like more fun, but like the first girl that walked in, because we were the first people there. And when we walked in, or when she walked in, she like kind of gave a look, and I want to be like, what? But then she just sat and ordered her food. So I don't really think many people care. Like I wasn't. There was a video on TikTok that was circulating of this woman like freaking out because something happened. I don't know what movie it was, but a rated R movie, and she's like, my child's in there, and the guy stitched it, and he's like, well,
Oh, I saw it's like a Norwegian film that like it's yeah, it's like a
yes.
Norwegian film, I think about a killer elf or something. Yeah.
Yes, and she was, like, flipping out, but it's like, do your research before you take your kid.
Yeah.
Like, ask around to see if there's anything that's not appropriate, like, what you think is appropriate for your kid to see because it
Yeah.
varies from person to person, so it was a very fun theater experience. She loved it. All 3 of us loved it, and I just think it was cool to share that time with her. But what
And I
about
think
yours?
especially and for a new franchise. Well, we'll see, maybe franchise.
Yeah.
New IP, we'll go with that.
Yes.
Well, I have to start with a formal apology that I've prepared.
Oh.
There's someone who's been on our show, or been on our show. Someone who's been brought up on our show many times over the last few episodes that we've just talked shit about relentlessly. And I would like to formally apologize to Miss Taylor Swift for the Eras Tour.
Don't.
Taylor, this one's for you.
Oh, Jesus.
I have to give it to my girl Tay Tay. I think that this is a win that as a man, you kids listening, if you're listening and you're younger than this, you'll understand this type of win when you're in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the theater and I always get one thing. I get the biggest soda they have, and I either get a cherry or a vanilla Coke, whatever I'm feeling that day. This time was vanilla.
Oh.
And I go up there and it's $8 and some change for a large soda. I've already prepared in my head to bite this fucking ridiculous bullet. I go, I would like a large soda, please. And the girl, and I was very nice. And the girl behind the counter goes, would you like the Taylor Swift cup for 99 cents? And I'll be honest, I didn't even register what she said. All I heard was 99 cents. And I was like, sure. I was like, sure, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Of course.
And then she comes back and it's a Taylor Swift cup. And then she rings me out for $1.06. And I was like, wait a minute. So I just got this enormous fucking cup with teeth with Tay, my new girl, all over it for $1, or I could have gotten a regular cup for $8. I'm like, what happened here? Either she fucked up the like, this is not the promotion. They've got a ton of these laying around.
Yeah.
Or she was flirting with me. I don't know. I got this cup.
Well, it's okay. Yes. I mean, let's go with 2 because come on now. But like, what if she thought that it was like, maybe it was like an additional 99 cents on top of the large and she just charged you for and didn't. But either way, hey, a 99-cent large soda at a movie theater is like bananas. That's
I've been telling everybody about it. This is how sad your 30s get. I've been like, listen, you don't understand. I went to the theaters and I got a large soda for 99 cents and cup and a cup that I can keep and continue to drink.
And I didn't put it in the trash can. I know when we went, I got a beer and Roz wanted Willy Wonka candy, and that was like a special, like the little hats or whatever. In the bag was air, and like 5 of them for $6. So fuck you, Willy Wonka and Timothy Shamalama.
Yeah.
And then we said popcorn, but we didn't specify. Gave him the theater number and everything, and comes in with the tub. I'm like, no wonder that was $22. That makes sense now that this tub of popcorn and my 1 beer was $22.
It's well, and I'd like to point out, here's my Scream cup that I paid $10 for, and it fits inside of.
Oh my God!
Tay is giving it out for her fans.
I fuck Tay. I still can't stand that whole. I hate Taylor Swift, but I'm really happy for you that you got that.
Oh, so
yes,
already started off on a high. Theater experience was great. I didn't have any. There were some girls that like came in kind of late and were talking a little bit, but other than that, I mean, they kind of. I think they got the vibe because people were kind of starting to be like. But
yeah,
other than that, it was good.
That's good. I mean, I was nervous that it was going to be another experience like the last time.
Yeah. I mean, there's bad ones. Yeah.
Yes, plenty. But so preview wise, we have 2 hours to talk about just the preview since there were so many. But why don't you start off with 1?
Okay. Well, I figure so I mean, I saw some trailers, and I'll be honest, most of the trailers I saw were not like, I was like, these look not great. Like there was like there was 2 that I was like, all right, I'm in. But the one that I thought was the funniest, and it's probably the one that like horror fans might have already known about, but like seeing the trailer, which again, this is news to me for anyone out there. I don't watch trailers for most things, but when I'm stuck in the theater, they're holding me at gunpoint, I have to watch them. I saw the trailer for Night Swim, Blumhouse's movie about a haunted fucking swimming pool.
Mm-hmm. They're really just grasping for straws at this one. Like I heard about it. But watching the trailer, I was like, when they're doing Marco Polo.
Yeah, that's the one. I
was like, what?
I was like flabbergasted. I was like, this, I mean, and I'll probably watch it. Definitely not in theaters. Come on. But
at home.
Will probably watch it at home. But I was like, this seems like something that you would see. Like this premise seems like something that would be like on Tubi after you
Tubi original.
Scrolling for like 3 minutes. It'd be like killer pool right next to killer couch or killer condom. Although killer condom was probably better than this movie's going to be.
And killer sofa was actually really good too. So props to that. But like, what's with Blumhouse like wanting to do a haunting on every inanimate object, dolls, toys? Like what? Like what are they gonna possess next? An air fryer? Like I don't understand. Like they're running. Not that they're running out of ideas, but I just feel like they're kind of. I don't know what's going on.
It just seems so low effort. Like it really seems like this was like a D level movie that should have ended up on Tubi, like with this premise. Yeah. And granted, who knows, maybe it'll be great, but like the trailer, I had to laugh because it's so I mean, it's like cut and paste. Like here's the white family who moves into the nice, beautiful house that they can't believe they got a deal on. And then like,
why did you get that deal? Oh, because all these people were slaughtered in the pool that is now haunted. Like, come on.
Yeah, it just seemed like it might be, it probably will be an entertaining film. I just can't imagine going to the theaters to watch it. Like this seems like it's got like it's got like Shutter release or straight to HBO written all over it. But I'm presuming if they're playing the shit in the theaters, they're hoping to make a big old bag of money, and I don't know if it's coming.
So here's my thought on that, because I've thought about this for quite some time. Okay. So I feel like I see a lot of things and I'm like, now this is aimed for like 13, 14-year-olds wanting to go to the movies by themselves, right? You
Yep.
know what I mean? And the parents like let them go with their friends, and it's one of those deals. But like those types of movies for me when I was in that age range was like Halloween H2O, The Faculty, Scream 2, like awesome scary movies. Do you know what I mean? Now I feel like we're getting this like plethora of bullshit that is just aimed for like tweens.
Well, yeah, and I think also when you go with some of those movies, like I like again, The Faculty that's a big budget movie. I mean, that's the creature effects and all the different locations.
Yep.
This is, I mean, it's just cut and it's what Blumhouse made all their money on, these type of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what partly keeps the horror industry alive a little bit, is that there are
Yeah.
oftentimes you can just make a cheap movie set in one fucking house, in this case a backyard, and
True.
and then even if it only X amount of, you don't need that many people to go see it to be profitable, and then you can sell the rights to HBO or Netflix or whatever the fuck it is, and if you're lucky it becomes like an overnight hit, and you make a shit ton of money.
Yes, and I'm still listening, but I was looking at the cast because I knew it was, who was it? It was that Wyatt Russell that's in everything, I feel like now.
No idea.
Kurt Russell.
I know Kurt Russell, but
Yes. And I say that, but like he's in Mothra or Monarch.
Mothra.
Monarch, excuse me. Oh, wait, is it Monarch?
You're talking about the Kurt Russell show with Godzilla.
Yes. What is it?
I haven't watched it. I don't have Apple TV. I love Godzilla, but I will wait till all the episodes have dropped. I will subscribe for a month. I will watch, and I will get rid of. I'm sorry,
Monarch.
I'm not giving Apple any of my money.
No, but definitely watch it because it is a really good show, even though I blank out on the name. But he's been on, like, he was in Overlord. I feel like there was like way more stuff that he was in, but I saw him and I'm like, I don't know. Like it just definitely is not going to be.
It just looks, the premise is too stupid.
Yes.
It just
it is, but like
it's cheesy as fuck.
I feel like what we're going to get from them is either going to be IPs, like remakes of huge IPs, or it's going to be these
low
like
effort,
ridiculous. Yes. So
just hoping for a big hit. Yeah.
So then, speaking of a big hit, so then we saw Ferrari. Did you see, or
no.
Was it Ferrari with Adam
Driver?
Yes.
I just guessed, but I've not seen this. I've not even heard of this movie.
Yep, it's like a biography on him and
on the guy who made Ferrari.
Yes.
Didn't they just do Ford versus Ferrari? So now we're doing we're doing spin-offs of that, and then Ford's gonna get his own movie, and then they're gonna team up against fucking Chrysler or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, and then Dodge, and then like Honda's gonna roll in. Yeah, like, and I didn't realize it was him until like it said driver, and I'm like, oh, it's him, and it looks like, I don't know, it looked like your typical action movie of like. I don't even know if it's action, but like cars exploding, cars going off cliffs. Penelope Cruz is in it.
I haven't seen her in a while, minus these weird commercials she does for like an airline I've never heard of. But
like whenever you see her, I just automatically think of Blow and how crazy.
That's 100% what I think of, because I'm like, I don't know what else you're from. I mean, I know she's huge like in Mexico, but like as for an American audience, I'm like, it's Blow. That's what I got. I got Blow.
Yes, crazy. But I loved her in Blow. But who else was in it? I don't remember. But yeah, so we got Ferrari, and you didn't see that, so we'll move on.
Yeah. By the way, which theater chain did you go to?
We went to Movie Tavern.
Okay, so that might be, so ours might be different here because I went to AMC.
Oh.
I will also, okay, so here I will say, I don't want to be negative totally, so let's talk about a movie that I was like, I'm fucking in.
Okay.
Did you see the trailer for The Beekeeper?
With Jason Statham?
Okay, yes, I would love to set this up. If you have not seen this trailer, it's John Wick. It's a John Wick ripoff, and I don't care. It's Jason Statham, who I have a man crush on. And the premise is he's friends with an old lady who gets scammed by one of these companies that are like, they call you and they like get you to give them their information. They steal all your money. They make it an American company because I think they didn't want to be seen as racist. Let's be clear here. We've seen the YouTube videos. So his response is he's like, I'm gonna murder them all.
Because she kills herself.
Yeah, she shoots herself. Yeah, she kills herself. And he's like, that's his John Wick. That's his dog.
Yeah.
And he goes to the building and he's like, I'm gonna fucking just kill everyone. But then it like also turns out he's like a super spy. And I'm like, I don't give a shit what this is. I'm in. Like,
I think Greg said, I think he's like, okay, so this is John Wick. And I'm like, oh, all right. And I just
it's John Wick with Statham and an old dead lady, and I'm in.
Done. I don't know. That's something that I'll probably watch when his family comes down, because we just watched the Expandables 4 for his dad's birthday. Because I mean,
old men love that stuff.
Yeah, like the newer action stuff, I'm a little bit like rusty on, but old like action films, I'm totally down for. But whenever he's down here, it's war movies and action. So I'm sure we'll be watching it.
I think that makes sense. I think that's just like an old dad kind of thing.
Yes. And I'm drawing a blank because I know that there was like, there was like a rom-com with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, that's one I brought up that I wanted to talk about, actually. Or I not brought up, I'm sorry, I had here in my list. It's called Anyone But You.
Yes. And that's like that drama, or the newest drama, because I don't really pay attention. Like, I didn't watch Euphoria. I probably should, because a lot of people say it's a really good show.
Is that what she's from?
Yes, because I don't know her either. I don't know her very well.
I watched that trailer and I was like, I don't know who the fuck any of these people are. Like, and then it turns out I do, because when I was Googling it, I was like, oh, I know the lead actor who's like in Top Gun 2, which was like my favorite movie of that year. But
oh yes,
I didn't know his name. But I will say this: that was one of those trailers. There was one that got a worse reaction, which I'll talk about next. But I felt like the people in the theater, not a single chuckle,
nothing.
And it was all like the joke, like everything looked so wooden and like unfunny. Like it just seemed like the whole time. And like there's a scene that like I saw and I was like, I could see how on paper it was funny, but in the trailer, like
doesn't translate.
Yeah, a spider like crawls down his pants. So his reaction is he like throws all his clothes off a cliff, and then he like shows back up at like a family function in his underwear and like not a chuckle. And I'm like, here's my thing. Cast that with, now granted, I'm not going to say cast him because he's old, but cast that with a Seth Rogen-esque actor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Not these two like on paper disgustingly gorgeous people.
This supermodel and this dude with like a 14 pack.
Thank you. Like very much Army Hammer. What was the guy in Infinity Pool? Sarsgaard.
Oh,
was it one of those?
Not Stellan, that's his dad. Peter Sarsgaard. I don't know, whichever one.
Some Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it looked just like them, and then you got Sydney Sweeney, and it didn't look funny at all. The only thing that created some sort of reaction was they showed butt cheeks.
Okay. I think I do remember that. And it looked kind of dirty. It looked like it was trying to be a dirty comedy, which I appreciation, but like it's like I'm like, this movie has zero chance of succeeding. Like I'll eat my words if it does, but I'm like zero chance. I
can't do rom-coms now because they're not funny. Like before they did cast like a Seth Rogen, or they did do like a Jonah Hill, or someone that like had a comedic characteristic.
Cast comedians or people who have devoted their life to that area of entertainment.
Exactly.
You can cast a hot chick if you want to. I get that. Yeah. Or whatever. Like, I mean, one of them's got to be a comedian. You could cast a funny girl and like a supermodel dude, or you can cast a supermodel dude and a funny, either way. But one of them's got to be able to hold the comedic weight of the film. And from what I saw, those two are not funny people.
Not at all. And I was just kind of like, let's be over with this one. And yeah, Roz, there's butt cheeks, because she's cracking up. And I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Roz's the only one in the theater laughing.
Let this kid in here. But so that one again, that's one I probably, and even like I used to love rom-coms. Like we've had discussions about rom-coms. Like I miss those, that formula, the simple formula that worked, or even like the weird twist in them that still worked. This doesn't appeal to me. Maybe appeals to other people.
And it
To be,
might, maybe there's people who just want to see attractive people fall in love, but I don't know. I guess I miss comedies in general. I think that this premise, very basic as it is, could have worked with casting of, and again, here's the thing. You kind of, nobody, you and I just watched this and didn't realize who most of these fucking people were. If you're going to go kind of like with sort of no-name people,
yep.
why not cast some no-name comedians? Make some new fucking comedy stars. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. And there's got to be some halfway decent looking comedians out there.
Okay, great example. As you're saying that, I'm thinking there was a Netflix original and it had David Spade and it had this Lauren
Lapkus. You're talking about the other Missy.
Yes, and I like, not saying that she's a no name because I know that she's done quite a bit of stuff, but like you have a comedian like David Spade who's been around for a long time. He's established.
Yep.
And you have her. The chemistry, as weird as it was, it worked. I actually thought it was really funny.
I actually really liked it. It's dumb, but it's funny.
Yeah, dumb, but it reminds me of like, I don't want to compare it because it's apples to oranges still, but like there's something about Mary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Different levels, but like I get what you're saying. Like that movie is, I could see watching that movie again, The Other Missy. Like, but I mean, it's never gonna like be one that I'm like, I gotta have that on my shelf, like
constant rotation.
Yeah, like no, but like I mean, something about Mary is one that I gotta watch like every 5 years.
Yeah, we just watched Detroit Rock City, and I forgot how awesome. Not that I forgot because it's one of my favorites, but just watched it and I love it. It's so good.
It's an unbelievably underrated comedy.
It is.
I just lost my virginity in a confessional booth.
Now give me back my fucking drumsticks, Jeremiah.
Good stuff.
Yes. Okay, now what about the one that you got?
Okay, so the one that I was the most like perplexed by, and I could feel the audience like being like, well, and granted, maybe it's just because we're all there to see a horror movie, but the Mean Girls musical. Did you see the trailer for this?
Didn't get that, and thank fucking God we did not. Sorry that you got it, but
like, here's the thing: I like Mean Girls. Mean Girls is it's a classic. It's probably the closest thing my generation or our generation had to like a 16 Candles type of movie.
Yes,
or Clueless. I think it's fucking phenomenal. I loved it then. I love it now. I don't mind musicals either. Deanna loves musicals, and some of them she makes me watch, and I fucking want to blow my brains out, like Les Mis. Some of them are on. Some of them are on my playlist now. Like I have the entire soundtrack to Greatest Showman and Hamilton, and I've seen Hamilton a lot. Like, so it's not just because it's a musical.
Yeah, exactly.
The part that's perplexing to me is Tina Fey, who I don't know if she made the first one, but she was in the first one.
Yes.
So she's directing this one. She plays a new character.
Oh God.
But like, I mean, if a trailer could tell, like this looks like a remake that is just, like when they remade Psycho with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And it's a shot for shot remake. And you're like, at the end of the day, you're like, it was fine, but like, I could have just watched the original.
And what's the point of that? Exactly.
Now, granted, this one's going to have songs. I get that. They weirdly did not put a single fucking song in the trailer, though, which I think is sort of weird. But it is a musical.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And then, but no, every famous line from the movie is in the trailer. Like every line.
See, and I don't like
so
that.
Fetch. That's so fetch. He's so gay he can't even function. The principal going, I didn't get out of the hood for this or whatever. Like every line is in the trailer, and I'm like, I think I've just seen the whole movie, and it looks like a shittier version of what I love. So
exactly. And so what's the point of even doing it? Like if you're going to do a musical and do something as a continuation, have like different lines and maybe throw like one old one in. But we don't need a rehatching of why Mean Girls was so amazing, and now you're like watering it down for who?
Yeah, it 100%. Like I think a remake, you need to walk a fine line of being somewhat different and justifying existing. And then also being kind of close enough to the source material that old and new fans can appreciate it. I get that the musical is the big twist here that they, for some reason, are hiding in the trailer, which makes me think that maybe it sucks.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm told that there is a like a Broadway version of it that's very successful. So
I did hear that too.
we'll
Oh,
see how that goes. But like it's just, if you see the trailer, I mean, every single like super memorable line and memorable part from the movie, the original, is in the fucking trailer. Like there's no mystery. It's not like, oh man, I wonder who's gonna be. Oh nope, there he is, and there's his famous line. Okay.
I take that. My friend Pat actually went to go see the musical and said it was good, but they had nothing new in it. And he said that was the problem. He's like, you would think someone like Tina Fey, who has her hands in it, would like come up with new material that can be just as good and have it included in this like continuation or a musical like portion of it. And that was his complaint. So
yeah. And I think it shows, like, if you see the trailer, and it showed, because the audience, you could, again, we're there to see a horror movie, but like the audience was like clearly like I think I could just feel the vibe was like, why? Like, why?
What are we doing?
Why does that need to exist? Like,
I'm with you.
It's gonna make a fuck ton of money. I guarantee it's gonna make a shit ton of money.
Oh, of course, because the people that love Mean Girls are going to go check it out, and they're just to see, because there's always that like hint of curiosity. Like, is it, maybe I'm just being too judgmental about it, and maybe it's going to be awesome. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't.
No,
it's not good. And okay, that's my other complaint too. Before we get into Thanksgiving, is I wanted to see more like horror trailers. Like I wanted to see. I'm trying to think if there is anything else that I'm missing that I'm dropping the ball on. But I feel like Night Swim was the only thing that was quote unquote scary.
I have a list of every trailer that I saw. Silent Night, which is an action movie. It looks kind of cool. It's a John Woo movie. I probably will see that.
Yes. And I thought, okay, real quick, because I won't touch too much on it, but like that scene was horrible. The kid's riding his fucking bike and then they're like holding him and crying. And I was like, oh shit. And then they said like the newspaper clipping, boy dies, and then he's still crying. I'm like, oh, what is this? Like, this is horrible.
But that reminds me, that is like, I watched like Face Off the other day, and that movie opens with Nick Cage sniping a child in the head accidentally, but still that's how it opens.
It's like, oh, we got your attention, here you go.
And then the other ones we mentioned, Madam Web was up there, which I was like, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel of superheroes, aren't we here? And I don't care that it's girl Spider Women, but it just looks terrible.
Okay, we didn't get that one, but I did see. Well, I stopped. I kept scrolling because I just didn't care.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I love the Apes movies, so I'm fine with that.
That was the first preview, and Roz said it looked cool, so chances are we'll probably check that out.
And then the last one, which I'm kind of curious to hear your quick thoughts on, was they played a full-length, like 4-minute trailer for the Ghostbuster Frozen Empire.
Yes, of course, I forgot about that. Yes, I already watched it like multiple times, but seeing it on the big screen got me so hyped. And I will say it every single time when I hear the siren go off, I get goosebumps, and I literally get like tears in my eyes, because it's just like Ghostbusters means so much to me. Afterlife has my whole entire heart and soul. Like I fucking love Did you like Afterlife?
I really liked Afterlife.
And so when I heard that, and then at the end when Paul Rudd's like, oh, and he like said whatever, I was like, I'm in.
I'm excited because I know that I don't know. I have not seen this, but I imagine there's some people being like, well, it's, the ice thing takes them out of it. I'm like, kind of cool that it's something different.
I like it. And I liked at the end how the presence was coming. You couldn't really see it, and like the eyes.
Yeah, and like people are dying. Like then they give that creepy speech about like your last thing that happens is you like cry tears of ice and then die. And I'm like, that sounds pretty wicked, bro.
I know. And it's going to be like a super intense moment with like a big character, and it's going to be emotional, and I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
I think it's cool. And to me, like, I like the idea of it being big set, because everything's going to have to be a big set piece, because it's all going to be this new environment. It makes me think of like what Dan Aykroyd wanted Ghostbusters 3 to be, which I always wanted to happen, where like I think it's they go to hell. Like they go to hell. And I'm like, That would have been fucking awesome. Like the
I-
original Ghostbusters in their prime in hell. I was like, why
Dude.
didn't they make that movie? Well, I know why they didn't make the movie. It's because Harold Ramis and fucking what's his name hated each other. But
Yes, so sad. And so, that's like the thing that like that would have been fucking chef's kiss. But that's the thing that, because you mean Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, right?
yes.
That's the thing about it too. Like, not only having like just on Afterlife, not having the grandfather part to like that scene, like if you're like you have like an emotional attachment to your grandfather, like I did, and then knowing like the history and then having them all look, you know what I mean? Like it just literally pulls at your heartstrings. And that whole end scene, oh, I can't even talk about it without getting choked up. Like
I'm with you. I love
love
that
it
end
so
scene. If
much.
you remove the Harold Ramis storyline from Afterlife, the movie's like I immediately probably I don't like it anymore. But with that storyline, I mean, I think it's the best. It's the best farewell we're ever gonna get for the Ghostbusters. Although I hear they're gonna be in the new one as well. So even if it sucks, we'll have that piece. We still have that goodbye.
I know, and even like seeing them in the trailer still gets me so excited because, again, that movie, the franchise, like not so much obviously like the remake with the girls, but 1, 2, and Afterlife are just so goddamn important and amazing to me.
I'll take it further. I loved the cartoon as a kid, but yeah, the girl. I don't even want to call it the girl one, but that's what everyone calls it. I don't care that they're girls. I hate that it had no connection and was just poorly written.
It wasn't. Here's my problem too, and I didn't mean, but just like the easiest way to like bring it in the conversation, because I'm all for women, but like no one was funny. It wasn't funny. It brought nothing to the table. Brought nothing new. Like Afterlife was so good. Like solid premise, great casting, character development, all of it. Throwbacks.
And you know, one of the things that I find funny is, there was like, if you didn't like the movie, then people were like, oh, you just don't like it because it's women. Well, the main character in Afterlife is a little girl. Right. And I didn't, now granted, some people are never happy, but the majority of people I feel like were like, no one complained about that. So I'm like, I don't think the problem was that it was a girl. I think the problem was the movie was bad.
Horrible. And she, what's her name? I can't think of her name. The girl though, she and podcast, like, talk about great child acting. Like she was amazing. Even Finn, whatever.
Wolfhard.
Yeah, he kind of drives me nuts, but he wasn't even bad in this movie. So
yeah, I'm a little finned out after Stranger Things. I might need to see him go away for a little while, but
same. That's how I felt. Like I could take it or leave it, but like he just, I don't know. I was the same. I was kind of Stranger Things out.
Yeah. But I think that's it for trailers. Do you want to get into the meat of do you want to carve up this turkey?
Yes. I love that. That was perfection. And absolutely, let's dive into this. Oh my God.
We will be talking spoilers from this point forward. So if you've not seen Thanksgiving or you care about spoilers on it, we're going to be talking
heavy spoilers.
Plenty of spoilers. But if you also don't care about Thanksgiving, there's a great chance we're going to be talking about slashers in general and how they fit into the landscape of things going forward.
Yes.
Jordana, what do you think about Thanksgiving?
I thought it fucking sucked.
Me too.
I don't want to say this because I don't want it to be like my tagline, but this like revived my horror because I wasn't feeling it for 2023. I really wasn't. And this movie, oh my God, it ignited that spark that burnt this fucking turkey. Oh, Eli Roth.
Yeah. I'm with you. I had such high expectations for it because it was the trailer I liked the most in Grindhouse. And I was like, from day one, there's been a bunch of us who are like, make that fucking movie, dude.
Yes.
And sometimes 16 years of anticipation can be too much buildup. But honestly, I saw it and I was like, instantly. And I told you this. I'm like, I think this is my favorite horror movie since Scream 5, which that means that's 2 years of horror movies. Movies that I liked. I liked Terrifier 2. I liked Scream 6. I like this better. This was better overall. This is a better film than both of those movies.
Well, so yes, I mean, for me, it was like, I don't want to say better than Terrifier 2 because I keep Terrifier 2, I keep it on this level of like
it's got a place in your heart. I know
it does, but it made me feel the same way watching Terrifier 2. It made me feel that like giddiness, and when stuff's happened, I was like, yes, and then like the just so much, and we'll get like into the specifics because this had literally so many layers that I just love, and I can't wait to talk about it because I hope that we touch on the same stuff. So, but I feel like I'm rambling. Eli Roth, though, his whole, I watched an interview with him, and he said at a young age he wanted something that was like the in between. You know what I mean? Like you had Halloween, then you had November. You didn't really have too much. You didn't want to start watching Christmas horror like super early in November. So he wanted to create a slasher movie or horror movie for November. And I think that this is his love letter. I feel like this is his love letter to horror.
And it absolutely is going to be on so many horror nerds like yearly watch list of November. Yes. It's definitely going on mine. I'm buying the fucking Blu-ray day one. Like,
yes, sir.
There's so much I liked about this movie. I mean, like we'll critique it as well. Like, but I'll be honest, like critiques, I maybe have like one or two. Like I fucking loved this movie, and like I loved it from everything about it. Like I loved the theme of it. I loved how like light it was, kind of lighthearted, but also like but the characters themselves took it seriously, and that's what really matters to me. Even if the man is trying to cook people like fucking turkeys, I want the people in the movie to treat that seriously. I can laugh at it as a viewer, but I don't want the people in the movie theater to be like cracking jokes like, ha, ha, ha. That was a real foul move you got there, buddy. Like,
yes. And I feel like the casting was so spot on. Like I was nervous because I'm like, I don't really, because I heard a lot of talk about Addison Rae, and disclaimer, I have no idea who she is. I know that she's like a big personality, like maybe she's a.
At this stage of the podcast, we would like to announce we're old.
Yes, we are.
Because I don't know who that is. The only person I knew in this movie was Patrick Dempsey and Gina Gershon. And spoiler alert, she ain't in it long.
Oh, is she? Who's Gina? Wait, was she the one from
Showgirls?
Nope. Okay, never mind. I thought it was the chick from.
She's in a shit ton of stuff, but
Son-in-Law, not her.
No.
Okay. Well, never mind. I'm old and I'm unknowledge. But anyway, I was like nervous because, okay, and I'm going to bring other elements into this just as a comparison, but like we get a new Scream movie, we get a new cast of like new fresh faces, right? Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people enjoyed it. Some people didn't. And I feel like with this one, it was just effortless. Like they casted everyone perfectly. Like I felt each person who they were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think it was the casting was great on it, and I'll even give credit here. I love Eli Roth because Eli Roth he's one of us. Yes. Like the main character, I was like the main actress. I was like, she is phenomenal.
I loved her,
and I like IMDb'd her because I'm like, what else has she been in? This is like her fourth thing she's ever been in. He's not afraid. Like this is the person. He's not afraid to go like, this is the person. Nobody knows who she is. Yep. Like, but. This is the person. Like I can tell this is who I want, and I don't give a shit. Like if the studio wants me to cast fucking Jenna Ortega, like I'm casting, and not to pick on Jenna on just her, but you know what I mean. Like oh, Mandy Moore needs to be in this movie. Like no, he's like this girl who nobody knows of, but they're gonna fucking know her after this movie. And I immediately was like, I'm gonna follow you, and I will be following you, and well, let's see what your next movie is.
Yes. I loved her. I thought she was great. I thought she was great as like the main. I didn't know where she was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be like a whole story on her, if she was just going to be like the focal point for like a little bit. Like I didn't know if it was going to shift, but I'm so happy that we got her because I thought Addison Rae was going to be the lead from what everyone was talking, because she's like the well-known in it. So I was like, oh, well, she's going to be the lead. And then to my utter delight, she was not. And I'm not saying she was bad, Addison Rae, because she did good as like a supporting friend in the movie, but I just didn't feel like she exuded the energy of the one girl.
Can I tell you who I think was unbelievable in the movie and I want to see in like so many more movies?
Who?
her dad, the main character's dad.
Loved him, hated him, but loved him.
Hated him, loved him. He was so creepy. He had the mustache, and he's such a
Yes.
shit. And then by the end of the movie, I'm actually like, again, he's not just the evil businessman twiddling his fucking mustache. By the end of the movie, you know, he's crying and like telling his daughter to run despite the fact he's gonna die. And I'm like, fucking yes, this is how you need to treat movies.
Okay, so that's one thing we'll bring up, because I don't want to like jump too far ahead, but I don't want to wait because it's fresh in my mind. I love how this movie had humor, gore, the element of surprise, and also it changed in those moments. So Eli Roth curated it so perfectly, because it went from like a kill scene that you're kind of like, you want to laugh at it, and then you're like, oh Julia, Scuba's girlfriend.
Yes.
Not to jump, but like that whole sequence of the corn shucks in the ear, and you're just like, oh, and like everyone in the theater like was just like, oh, making some noises, and you know, Roz is looking at me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then when it went to the saw part, and that starts to happen, and you're kind of like not thinking it's comedic, but you're like, oh shit, and then it's a weird way to die. But then when Scuba grabbed her and was like, what do I do?
Oh,
and he's
such a good actor, because that's like I feel like a real reaction.
Yes, and like watching him, it made me feel so bad, because he's just like, what do I do? Is she okay? And I'm like, dude,
Jessica, what do I do? What, as if like she's gonna give some answer of like, oh, just sew her back up. Like, her
like
guts are on the floor. Like,
she was on the table,
yeah,
and like there's hamburger guts, but like you know what I mean? Like, and I know but having that like moment of what would you do in that situation? Like, it's so shitty. And then the tricky part, and then when he carved the wife, and the dad's like puking.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, it's not funny, but then you're kind of like, oh shit. And then you see how like serious everyone is, and you're like, oh my God, like it's so great.
100%. I'm with you. He balanced it great here.
Yeah.
And like okay, let's go to the beginning.
Yes,
like,
I'm sorry. I just had to say that because I would have forgot.
We're gonna bounce all over the place. We're so excited.
Mhm.
But I love okay. I love this on so many levels. Again, I said earlier in the podcast, I work and have worked in some fashion, either in or around retail, pretty much my whole life.
Yes.
And so I might surprise you, fucking hate Black Friday.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm kind of an anti-capitalist. I'll let you know that right now. So like, I don't give a fuck about money and all that shit. But
yeah.
I love there's a pretty large anti-capitalist message in this movie, and it ain't fucking subtle, and I love it.
I loved it too. And because I work retail, I used to work retail, and I used to get pissed off because when we did family holiday experiences, when it was like a whole bunch of people coming over, I remember one Thanksgiving, they had the Black Friday sales like that day. And I'm like, that's such bullshit that you have people that are working on a fucking holiday. You're making like whatever off this bullshit. And then some of the people that came over were like, well, they ate and left. I'm like, fuck you, don't come back. Like, hang out with your fucking family. Who gives a shit about saving like $20 on something? Like, spending time with your family should matter more than
100%.
that.
And I hate that I mean, like, again, I'm not talking, we're not going to be like super political here or whatever, but like, not that this should be political, but whatever. But like, I hate the fact that like it took a worldwide plague to have retailers go, all right, no more Thanksgiving open. We're not open, because then that happened. Now, like Target, Walmart, all of the fucking big ones are all closed now.
Yeah, good.
And that made all the smaller ones also follow along, which I'm like, it took like literally, I mean, think about the message of this movie, which the movie opens with like again, just a riot with people getting stomped to death and ran over it. Like it took literally people dying in reality to have that stop. And even in this reality, I'm like, they were like, well, you know, we got more security now.
Yeah. We're equipped for it now. Like, maybe 2 people will die instead of like the 4 that did. So that's good, right? Like, but that scene was like hilariously done. But then when chaos started happening, you're just like, oh fuck. And like, I felt for the security dude under the glass.
Yep.
And when they're like, oh shit, he's still alive. And you see him just sitting there crying. I was like, oh my God, the poor guy. Like, it's such a good, like that. And going back to what you said about, it's like this Scream for us, the
100%.
closest we'll get to Scream. Finally, a horror movie opening that has a scene that you're just like, oh my God. And it builds and it builds. And then quickly goes to like the title card in the most amazing way. Because remember how like Scream started?
Yeah, with Casey's guts hanging out of her fucking her belly while she's hanging. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jada Pinkett getting stabbed, and then Scream 2 coming up on the screen, like so intense. Like it brought me back to that feeling, and I loved it.
I loved it too. And also, like, again, now granted, only if you're or someone who pays attention to like actors in Hollywood, this kind of had a very Scream-esque moment, because one of the two most famous people in the movie was Gina Gershon, who's most famous from Showgirls, and she's been in a ton of shit. I actually just remembered she was in fucking Face Off. I just watched it the other day.
Oh.
She's possibly Nick Cage's sister, who he may or may not be fucking. I don't really know how that relationship works.
Ew.
But yeah, she is one of the more famous people in the movie. And again, spoiler alert, she gets taken out. And I liked how quick it was. There wasn't like with the security guard, you kind of feel like that, like that moment where you're like, oh no, because you slowly are watching him die as he's just getting stepped on. But with her, it was just that one angry bitch just slammed her with the cart and ripped her fucking scalp off.
I was like, holy shit. And it was so like, because that would fucking hurt. Like, let's be real. Like, that would be the worst thing to ever happen. But then how the bitch was like, and she like rolled off. I was like, oh my God. But and another thing I have to say about this whole movie, I did not know who the killer was the whole time until we got to like, because I don't think I was hyper focused on it, because I'm like, I want to be surprised on the killer. And they did a really good job of not dropping too many hints.
I will say that, and I guess we'll save the reveal at the end, or when we get to that naturally. Yeah. I was playing along with it like I do whenever I watch like a Scream or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did a great job of placing lots of red herrings, as this type of movie should, so that you're like, well, maybe it's them, maybe it's them. I will say that the reveal
wasn't as
surprising because of who it was. Like,
I feel that because, and I will
let's say we're doing spoilers, because otherwise we're going to be tiptoeing around it the whole time.
So to be fair though, so we were like whispering, because I'm like, I think it's VIP guy because of like things that were said. And I was like starting to pay attention because I knew it was coming towards the end. And I'm like, I think it's that guy. And I was also paying attention to height, because of course I'm a fucking asshole when it comes to stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't think it could be a girl, because the John Carver is pretty tall. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know.
Pretty strong too, yeah.
Pretty strong. And I'm not discrediting females, because there are female.
Let's be clear
killers.
What you're referencing. You're referencing what's her fucking her what's her nuts from 5
and 6?
Scream 5. Oh, and 6. Yeah, I forgot the redhead. Yeah.
Yes, because when I was watching it last night, I'm like, there's no fucking way she took out Gail's boyfriend, threw him through the fucking thing, and like, there's no way. And I kept doing that last night, because I'm like, that's supposed to be Ethan, whatever. So I felt something in the beginning scene when her scalp went bye-bye.
And it did zoom in on him and not the husband.
Yes. And I was just like, for what? I mean, I didn't really think anything of it then so much, but I was just like, for why did that happen? You know what I mean? Because I thought that was kind of weird.
And I did the same at the beginning. I just was in, but about halfway through the movie, I start trying to figure it out. And there are great red herrings, so that it can keep you guessing.
Yes.
Can we say it now?
Yes.
The reason that I think it's a little bit of a letdown as far as who the killer is, depending on how you look at it. Right. For me, it was just kind of like, I wasn't like, oh, bum, the movie sucks. I was just like, oh, well, I'm like, it's like if you cast a movie with Brad Pitt and then made Brad Pitt the killer. Like, the most famous guy in the movie is the killer. Like it's Patrick
Exactly.
Dempsey. Yeah.
But then, okay, so yes, but then the redeeming quality was the explanation of what
It
was
made
going on.
sense. It did make sense.
And then it gave that salty pepper flavoring of Scream where there's a backstory to it that has some layers because she
Mhm.
was fucking pregnant
Yep.
and she was gonna leave her husband. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that.
and he's like, "You took my family away."
Yes. So I was like, okay, I like that because it's believable and I liked it. I wasn't upset with it. I wasn't mad because there were times with killer reveals that I mean, and I won't go into it, but I'm like, what the fuck? Because I just think it's ridiculous. This one, not so much, but again, I think there was like a slight twinge of not disappointment, but just being like, okay, well, he was the biggest star of the
It
whole
was kind of
movie.
the obvious one,
Yeah.
but I wasn't upset with it. I personally would have liked them to have those tangential connections and had it
Yes.
be one of those like newer character, like not newer character, they're all new characters, but like an actor that I have never seen before, but who was
Yes.
in the movie, the new boyfriend, Bobby would have been a great fucking connection because Bobby was mysterious, for a year. Can I say who I also loved in the movie? And I'm like, I feel like in the script he was a bigger character and they cut him down. I loved the rocker dude who like was selling all the kids
Yes.
beer and shit.
Yes. And I thought it was him when okay. So my three that I had in mind was the boyfriend that got the football tickets, the new one after
Yeah.
he was ghosted. Then I was like, they're focusing too much on him like ghosting her and like the whole boyfriend thing's been done. So I'm like, I don't think it'd be that obvious. But then I kept going back to Scream. I'm like, well, it was right in front of our faces the whole time.
Yeah.
Then when he said something about VIP, oh, when the kid brought the ropes upstairs into the party and he's like, something about VIP when they did the dinner scene, John Carver was walking around and he said something about you're the VIP.
Yeah.
I put the height in and I'm like, it's him. I looked at Roz, I'm like, it's him. And she's like, like she didn't think it was him, but I totally thought it was him.
And see, and here's the part that I thought, but like when he out of nowhere comes up and he's like, hey Jessica, this is a ring. It was my dad's from Iraq, and then it like shows him right next to his dad, and I was like, well, maybe it's a twofer, maybe
Yes.
it's a dad and him. But then the reveal of that is awesome because you're like, yay, the scummy dude is actually got a heart of gold.
Yes, you're like rooting for him. Exactly. I loved him.
When
I thought he was
when she pops that ring, part of me was like, oh, thank God it's not him. Okay, like
yes. Yes. And then I loved his line when he was talking to the kids about Black Sabbath, and the kid's like, who's Black Sabbath? He's like, get the fuck out of here.
oh, I laughed it so hard at that part because I was in the theater, and again, I saw it on like it was like a Monday afternoon,
Yeah.
and there was only like 9 people in the theater, but like
That's still good for a Monday, I feel like, in
yeah,
the
it was
afternoon.
decent, but like the age demographic there was like 2 people in my age range and quite a few younger people,
Yeah.
and that reaction, you could tell there was like 2 people like and me who kind of like really got a reaction out of that, and I could
Yeah.
feel like the other like 4 or 5 people were like, what the fuck does any of that mean? And it's like, oh well, then that's why you don't get it.
Yeah, Greg and I were like cracking up, and Roz was just kind of sitting there like,
He came in as a little demon elf, James Ronnie James Dio. I love that.
yes, that whole conversation was great.
Yeah,
But
which if they make a sequel, I want him to be he should be the fucking Jamie Kennedy of this franchise if it's a franchise.
okay, and that I cannot wait to talk about that later because I mean, I can just say it now. I feel like this could be such a solid standalone. I think that if he just left it and we didn't get anything else from it, I would be
I think he
so
will.
I know, and I think it's gonna happen too, but
No,
like
I think he will. I think he will leave it alone.
oh, okay. Yes, because I was gonna say money talks and they'll want to do something with it. And I'm hoping that it doesn't go out of his hands to like another person.
Like what they did to Cabin Fever.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that would be horrendously horrible. But this is a film that I can proudly say I'd be happy with this. That's it.
Yeah, and again at the end
Yes.
we'll get to it because I have thoughts on both ways where I'm like, yeps, but also I might be greedy. Yes, might be greedy. Like
Yeah.
let's get back into it. Just some of the great scenes we have. What about like the first like killer kill? Because the opening kills in this movie are not well, I guess they are malicious, but they're not a serial killer. So
Yeah. Just it's accidental.
yeah, the opening kill, which also this is a great thing I like that this movie did. Like you said, it even though it is the obvious killer,
Mm-hmm.
every single person he gets makes sense.
Yes.
It's not like, you know, like in the Scream, some of the Scream movies, like when he kills like when they kill Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I'm like, why
Why?
are you going after this person? It doesn't
I
make any
know.
sense. They did nothing to you. Every person, whether and big or small, like whether or not, but like this person, you can see how they perceive, how you can perceive that Patrick Dempsey has a reason to hate this fucking person.
Absolutely. And I love that because it says something about like like someone who does stuff like Art the Clown that's not explained yet. That's scary. I mean, and even if like a realistic stance of someone just killing, so like Michael Myers, just killing to kill, let's say like in the first one, you have no idea. That's fucking terrifying. But when you have like revenge planned and you have it thought out and you know how it's going to be executed, I think that's great. I loved it.
I loved it too. And another good thing I'll say is, again, every kill made sense because once you know who the killer is, it would have been really easy, and he could have squeezed an extra kill out of it by killing the Gina Gershon's husband. But
Yes.
technically, Gina Gershon's husband never did anything to him or her. He never hurt her. He never did anything wrong. He honestly is probably the person he can relate to the most. Like,
and I love that, and I'm glad that you said that because she planned on leaving him. It wasn't like he did anything to hurt her. It just wasn't a thing, and that's believable. There isn't this like backstory to a backstory that doesn't make any sense, that has like a little bit of a connection to what's happening. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of what's happening. It's something that happens all the time.
100%.
But the first kill, I loved it because it was that cat and mouse, and you're like, you think it's going to happen one way, and you get the cheek rip. Oh, which I was just like, I feel like every kill in this movie, again, I was grabbing whatever part that was, and at the end, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's fucking awesome," because it was just so cool. Like, loved it.
I'm with you. Like everything was great, and the way it finally happens, because yes, you get the cheek rip, you get the running, but when she is climbing in that fucking dumpster and that thing just slams down, totally unbelievable. But it just chops her right in half. Oh my god! I felt kind of weird. Again, theater of 9 people. I was the only one who laughed out loud. I was like, "This is great."
I was doing the same, but other people were doing it, and Greg's just looking at, because I was looking over at him, and he's like, "Yeah," and Roz is just like, "Oh my god," she like loved it too. And then when she's propped up on the
sign
on the star, and it's just her bottom, I was like, "Fuck yes, it's great."
Oh yeah, I mean, skipping ahead a bit, but like once he takes the head of the next victim and like you realize what he's doing, I was like, you show her on sitting at that fucking table, and then they showed it. I was like, yeah.
I know. I was so excited. And then, okay, so I don't know. Like I liked the whole I don't even okay, I'm going way off track. I was going to talk about like the whole Plymouth thing, but so then
let's go off track. Who cares? I'm having a blast.
So it's just, I don't know, like it just fits so perfectly because I don't know. It's just it's I don't know. We'll go to the next kill because I feel like I kind of like lost that train of thought on that one. But
well, the next kill might genuinely be my favorite just because of what happens afterwards. So Eli is a huge animal lover, if you don't know this. And I don't know, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I thought I read a quote. I thought I saw a quote that he said that going forward, he's not killing animals in his movies anymore. I may be making that up because I have a man crush on him, but
he's amazing. Like you just know that he's a good fucking dude.
Yeah. I mean, some fucking people are I don't want to get into it. There's people on 2 different sides of an issue that has nothing to do with the fucking movie that are boycotting it for different reasons, and it pisses me off.
Okay, but Eli Roth, never mind. He's he's Jewish. Like I can't like that whole thing because people like boycott Thanksgiving. For what? Like, understandably, it's okay.
I hate it.
I do too, because I understand, like, genocide and unaliving children is not fucking okay. Like nothing is okay about any of that, right?
Nobody's saying it is.
And the thing is to take it out on a movie that had nothing to do with it. This movie was done before any comments or anything was said. So then you want to take it out, and I get it, like not giving the money to Spyglass. I understand. But Eli Roth has done nothing.
I just find, yeah, I'm with it. And I just find it to be stupid regardless. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a thing. I will not pretend to understand what's going on over there. And will not ever pretend to understand. And that's fine. And
Yeah.
I will not understand why people are upset. I will not pretend to understand why people are upset, but I can get it. I can get that. You know what I'm saying? Is like, I
do.
get that I
I
don't
do.
get it.
Mhm.
But my thought on it is, doesn't it seem ridiculous when two different sides of the same argument are mad at the same thing? When I'm like, when one group is like, like boycott Thanksgiving because Spyglass or spyware made it or whatever, because they said bad stuff about side X, and then the other side is saying, well, boycott Eli Roth and Thanksgiving because he said side X about side X, and I'm like, how about just shut the fuck up? And maybe you don't have to make a Twitter post about it. Just don't go see it. How about just shut the fuck up? It's a movie about stupid Thanksgiving. Do you think he had a political agenda behind it? I don't know.
Exactly, but also too, like, and I'm gonna just say this, and I know that it can be somewhat like taboo, but I'm just saying facts, and I'm not comparing at all, because what's happening, like you said, like I can't fully grasp it, and I just, it's not like I'm putting it out of sight. I understand the severity of it, and I understand that there's like a lot of division, and it's just fucking horrible. But like, there are producers, movie companies, actors that are not good people. And there's shit that we don't see. There's shit that we don't hear. You know what I'm saying? So like, if we want to boycott things that are bad, you wouldn't have any fucking source of entertainment, because think of all the shit that's done in private. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to compare it to that, but like, I just think that it's a little bit much I just think it's a little bit much.
Yeah, and the people who are getting in trouble and penalized for literally just speaking their opinion is far. I think what you're saying is that should not be punished, when there's probably things that are being done behind the scenes by actual more powerful people in the industry, your Harvey Weinsteins and whatnot, that probably deserve your actual, if you want to be, try and cancel.
If you want to
someone.
boycott something, exactly, then try boycotting them. But like, I don't know. I think freedom of speech is an absolute must, and I don't think that that's fair. And we have other actors that are saying things too that are just absolutely horrible, and there's nothing happening to them. They're just being watched. They have eyes on them. So how is that fucking fair? How is that fair at all? And they're both huge franchises. They're both actors. And it shouldn't be a matter of like, she's a she and a woman of she's like, she's Mexican. Do you know what I'm trying? Like, it's just
it all just at a certain point just feels really stupid, because it's not going to make a difference whether you go see the fucking movie or you don't, or it's successful or not. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's be real. It's not going to make a difference. Enjoy the fucking shit that you like. We're all on this planet for far too few days. Enjoy the shit that you like. And if you want to contribute to humanitarian efforts of either side or whatever, go do that in your own time. Don't try and fucking yuck everyone else's yum because you want to fucking feel high and mighty. That's
and don't penalize people for wanting to have escapism and want to have entertainment and go see a fun movie like this, and then have it all tie back to this, like, you're a bad person if you do this. If you go see Thanksgiving, I'm not going to follow you. Like, okay, then don't follow me, because whatever.
Yeah, I don't give a shit then.
I don't. I was so angry when all this was happening, and like, people, saying, "Oh, you should sell your ticket." I'm not fucking selling my ticket. I'm going to this movie because I've been looking forward to it for fucking like you said, 16 years. I've been looking forward to this movie. I'm going to see it, and I'm probably going to give my money and actually buy physical media because it's so goddamn good.
I'm 100% good. That will be a pre-order day one.
Yes.
Eli, you done did good, and you're one of my boys, and you and Statham, as stated on this, are on the man crush list.
You my boy.
Welcome to the big leagues, buddy.
But I did hear, so going off on, and sorry for that tangent. We'll probably cut some of that because
Leave it all in. Fuck them.
I just can't. But I did hear.
When I say fuck them, I mean anyone who's going to be offended by the fact that we're just like, please enjoy what you like and don't cancel people for their opinions. If you don't like that, then don't listen and go fuck yourself. I think
exactly. And if you think that we're like people that have like any sort of whatever in us, and like we don't just do us a favor and don't listen to us anyway, because we don't need that negativity in our fucking life. But anyway, I did hear about him saying that he didn't want to kill animals, and I loved that, and I loved how he's like, where is he? And the cat's just like on the thing staring at him, and then
it's great.
I love it. And then he pats him and he feeds him.
That was the part that I love, just because, again, we always talk about my least favorite thing in a horror movie. My least favorite trope is that when the animal dies. And I love that the cat sort of is an accomplice to John Carver.
I know, because he knew.
The dude's packing, and if you don't know what we're talking about, and he's like, the guy who's the security guard who's being stalked realizes that he's being stalked, and he's like, hey, cat, whatever the cat's name was, he's like, where is he? And the cat looks into the kitchen, and immediately he's like, oh, okay, and he starts to like walk towards the kitchen, and then he just gets fucking murked.
It's awesome. And that kill was so cool. Yeah, I love that one.
But then the best part is, as he's walking away with the fucking owner's head in a bag, the cat meows and is standing next to the food bowl, and then it just cuts. I love a good, just not like just a cut to him pouring food in the bowl and just scratching it on its head and then walking away.
I loved it. That was on the ground view. I loved everything about it.
You see like his boots and his glove. Yeah.
Because Roz, she was like, when she saw the cat, I'm like, honey, Eli Roth would not do that. Eli Roth would not kill the cat on Thanksgiving. Like, you have nothing to worry about. And then when the scene ended, she's like, oh, good. I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
Eli's the man.
Yeah. And sort of goes back to the thing is this killer is only killing the people that have any connections to who he perceived has wronged him, which is a thing that a lot of slashers oftentimes kind of fuck up. Even the really good ones where like there's just like a random or one or two randos that just kind of like, oh, you're here, I'll just get you here. While you're here, I might as well just get you here, all right.
But it just shows how much thought goes into like his thought process on this movie, and all the check, like the boxes that he checked, and the shit that people pay attention to. There's some people that are super serious watching the movies, and some that like to have fun. I love that he placates to both.
100%. Okay, so can we get to where they're in the school? Because that, I believe, is the next scene, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Where they're at the school, and I like this because I was like, well, the movie's been going on for about like half an hour yet, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like he has any inclination to John Carver to really get with the main group of kids.
Yes.
And then he grabs two of them right off the bat.
And it's such a good chase scene. It very, very reminiscent of like a Scream. Yep. A Scream 2 vibe. And because there was, real quick though, because I did want to touch on like the nods that I felt like throughout the movie. The one before the scene when they were at the diner, and the girl looks out the window, and there's the dude standing there with the John Carver mask.
Yep.
And she's staring at him, and then she looks away, and it's the shot of her from outside, and then she looks back, and he's gone. Very Halloween, very Michael Myers.
Very Michael Myers in the sheets. Yep.
Love that. Love that very much. But back to school. So then he gets two.
I love the scene. So you don't really see what happens. He just grabs the other two, and then she's trying to find them. And granted, I will be honest, I took all the home ec classes I could because I wanted to be by all the girls. I never took a home ec class where they did like hair designs, like they taught you to be a hairstylist. But whatever, I did like the what he did with it. I love her hiding like Looney Tunes, like Looney. That's straight up what would happen like in a Looney Tunes cartoon, like totally. It was good. I liked it.
I thought it was such a good chase scene because I was hoping we would get really good chase scenes because I'm a sucker for chase scenes and slashers.
Absolutely. I thought it was great. And then we do get a school kill scene, which was this is what I'm very happy about when I saw this scene, because up until this part, I'm like, well, the trailer that we saw, now granted, you can't use the same actors because you're gonna have to, you'd have to explain a 20 almost 20-year fucking age difference. But like,
They looked youthful before, but they definitely aren't using their Olay.
yeah. So I was like, well, this hasn't up until this point. I'm like, this hasn't really tied back to the trailer that we saw at all.
Mhm.
And then we get the girl on the trampoline, and I was like, all right, I'm fucking
Yes.
back in. Like, he
Yes.
tied it back in, he did it, and then he tied a lot more back in when we got to the parade. But
Oh, fuck yeah. And I love how we didn't get like boobs. Love how we got like a little butt shot because I was just,
you were worried about you're bringing a kid, I get you. So
yeah, but like butt cheeks, I mean, even boobs for her, they're not like,
I mean, she
you
lacked
know,
the butt cheeks in the trailer, so
exactly. So when she saw that, she was like, oh, I'm like, oh God, here we go. But I love how it wasn't what you expected was going to happen in the transition of the trampoline because I thought she was going to get the knife to the vajayjay.
which I believe I haven't watched the fake trailer in a while, but I believe that's what happens in the fake trailer. But
It does, and I was like, oh God, if they do it, cool, because that would be cool. Because that's like, I mean, you don't see like a lot of vagina deaths, but
I can think of one, two. I can think of two. I can
what's
think
the
of
other
one.
one?
The
I know the one that.
the art, and
Mhm.
then the curling iron in Sleepaway Camp.
Oh,
Yeah, which I think doesn't technically kill her because she comes back in a fan movie or some shit that is now canon. But
yes.
I believe it killed her in the first movie.
Damn, I forgot about that one, and that one is painful. That would
Yeah.
not be fun. But I like how he kind of just made it more realistic. I mean, because you're on the trampoline, you get fucking sliced in the leg, then you're gonna fall over, and you're just gonna get
I like the
all over it.
concept of her just bouncing, like basically the knife just staying position where it is, and she's just bouncing on it.
Yes.
And then also they have to keep her somewhat alive for the end of the movie because she does
Mhm.
come back. Which I'll be honest with you, when she pops up in the fridge, we'll just say it. When she pops up in the fridge, I didn't realize who it was because I literally in my mind I was like, who the fuck is this bitch? I was like, did he get a rando? Like,
I thought it was, but I couldn't, I knew it wasn't because of how severe Julia's death was. But because of the blonde, I'm like, wait a second, she can't be. And then I realized who it was, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. But that whole sequence was awesome. I thought all the kills in this movie were pretty top notch.
I would agree, and they all felt different. Like it's
Yes.
at a certain point, sometimes like and I hate to keep saying scream, 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 but I mean like this movie is so much like Scream,
Yes.
like in a great way. At
Yes.
certain points, a lot of times the Scream movies just stabby, stab, stab, and that's it.
Yeah, you don't really get creative with the way that they kill.
And I think with this being a themed holiday movie, it just he went for it, and every kill he was going to give you something goofier or weird or funny or just over the top, and it was so much fun. I loved like. There's not a kill in this movie that I'm like, oh, you could have done more with it. Like you got
No.
everything you could out of it.
I don't think he was like it was too little or too much. I think it was just each one was perfectly crafted. And I think we're coming up to like what would arguably be my favorite kill like sequence.
Did Julia and her dad?
Oh, no, no. That'll be after that. I forgot
Oh,
that
then
was after.
I don't. I've only seen the movie once, so I mean, I'm
Was the
going off memory
parade
here.
was the parade before
The
Julia or
parade,
was
the parade's at the very like that's what sets up
Oh
the whole
yes,
last
yes,
end of
at
the
the end.
movie. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. But Julia's scene was pretty the dad was cracking me up with his accent. We're going to Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
She's like, okay, Dad.
I love that. Like, I kept waiting for them to be like, because I felt like they were implying that like he was in the Russian mob or something. I kept waiting for like that to come in because like they were heavily seemed like they were implying it,
Oh yeah.
like just and then like the dad, just being weird. He had like a bodyguard, and I will say, okay, so I guess technically he does get John Carver gets some randos, but it's only to get to his actual kill. And the ones he gets that are randos, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna torture you. Just bang
Yeah.
bang, you're dead.
When he pulled out the gun, I was like, oh shit, everyone's gonna flip out because there's a slasher with a gun.
What do you think about because I kept thinking there, and it was a red herring. It had to be. I kept waiting for something to be in her contact lens.
Yes. Yes. I was like, oh, I started flinching. I'm like,
I
something's
kept
gonna
thinking he
happen.
was gonna like put acid in it or something because they made it like twice where she's like about to put it in her eye, and I'm like, something's gonna be fucked up with that contact lens.
I was waiting to jump. I'm like sitting there because I had my beer too. Because I don't know about like I don't like to cover my eyes when I'm in a movie theater because I don't look like a pussy. I don't want to do it. But at home, I'm like, hold on, what? But I'm holding my beer and I will keep it in the cup holder because I'm afraid I'm going to be like, and beer's going to go everywhere. But that part, I put everything down and I just sat there. I was like, oh shit, something's going to happen.
So I'll say I love. It's not my favorite. I know what my favorite kill is, but I
Yes.
wonder if it's. I think it might be the same because I feel like we're getting to it.
Yes.
But I will say I like this one because it came out of no. Because the whole time I'm like, it's got to be something with the eye. It's got to be something with the eye. Got to be something with the eye. And then like, oh no, he's gonna shoot but miss because they're doing the whole like I got you here. And then like within like 1.5 seconds, it's like the saw's on, boom, she's on the table, and then just shit's just spraying everywhere. I was
So
like,
bad. But the corn,
oh yeah,
that like, and then I love how the sound went to like when you can't hear shit. Like
I really
when
like that. It was creative.
I love that, and I just imagining that pain, and obviously you wouldn't die from it, but just having to like crawl with that shit happening, I was like, oh my god, and then that whole the guts, it was done so well, and the spraying when they're just like that's where I thought it was gonna be funny because they're just standing there and all of a sudden the blood spurts up and they're like, oh, and then when Scuba actually grabs her and then he's like, what do I do? I was like, oh my god, this is heartbreaking. Like I felt super bad.
Yeah, they were able to center that scene really well after kind of I think up until that point,
Mhm.
maybe the dumpster death's more crazy, but like,
Yeah.
a pretty over the top scene. They were able to really center it again with Scuba's really good. That actor did really good with that reaction.
I loved him. Like I found myself, I was like, I hope he doesn't die and I hope he's not the killer. I didn't think that he was the killer. And of course I thought that he was definitely gonna get something from the situation, but I'm happy that
And that's one of the things. I mean, I'll bring up towards the end of this movie, or we'll bring it up now. I I get it. Like, there's the trope of the final girl, and
Mhm.
maybe you might get the final girl and a final guy together.
Yeah.
I kind of like when there's a few survivors, because I feel like it's maybe a little more realistic.
Yeah.
B, it gives you can invest in these side characters a little bit. Otherwise, you're just like, okay, they're all fucking fodder, and what's the
Yeah.
point?
Exactly.
And if you are going to build a franchise, I have now characters that I will like in the future ones, and I will care about as they continue to get knocked off. Like,
Absolutely. And one thing I loved about it too was, yes, that there was multiple like love interests in the movie, but it wasn't like hyper focused on that. Like it stayed true to what was going on. We didn't have to have this like story of who's actively her boyfriend, who's not. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a focus thing on it. And I like that.
yeah, I agree. I mean, because again, I outside of the obvious choice, which it ended up being, I
Mhm.
though was like, I'm like, all right, I'm like, it's got to be Bobby, or I think Ryan was his name. I'm like, it's got to be one of those two, because I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously, and then like, be perfectly honest, Ryan, the new boyfriend, at a certain point, he kind of just goes away, never comes back. He's
Yes, and that's the thing too that threw me off because I'm like, okay, I've seen this done with 6 with Ethan because he
Mhm.
kind of just like trailed off, but then he's like, "Oh, I have an alibi," and you didn't think anything of it. So I'm thinking, is he pulling our leg here, and is he a suspect? But I still didn't feel like super invested that it was him,
Yeah, and
even when he was gone.
but I mean, I think the whole reason for Scream 6 to have Ethan, and I think for this movie to have, I think his name was Ryan,
Mhm.
is to give you that part in your brain where it's like, well, it might be, that's a strong possibility. But
Yes.
once that possibility goes out the window, his character's kind of irrelevant at that point.
He was, and I thought that maybe at least he would die or something would
That's
have
what I,
happened
you know,
to
like
him.
he'd have like the scene, you know, where, oh, well, actually, he's a great guy and he tried to help and, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, he literally never comes back.
I know. I was like, I was shocked, but I think it's a breath of fresh air because it's not your normal tropes that you get in a horror movie. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like following the repetitive standard of what has been done. Like he kind of just did his own thing, and I like that. I like that it was different because it still worked.
If you think of it in a reality, in like a truest sense here, there really isn't much of a love story in this movie. Once the movie, I mean, at the beginning of the movie, yes, because she is clearly in love with Bobby.
Yes.
But once the movie picks up, she kind of likes Ryan, and she obviously still cares for Bobby. But once the movie really starts going, there's never like a scene where like, you know, she's like, oh, I still love you, Bobby, or like blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much like, no, I want to survive and I want you all to survive, but I'm not fucking anybody here in the immediate future.
Yes, and I love that because it's the matter at hand. It's like that she's no fucks, like she doesn't fuck around, and it was survival mode. And I love that because you didn't have to have like a love interest. You didn't have to have that. What?
Ryan did show up at the end of the movie. I'm sorry, during her little Friday the 13th moment, he is sleeping in the bed. But whatever, you know, whatever.
But that's I think that's okay because it still it didn't overpower, and it still had a great ending. And then you had that moment where you're like, okay. I mean, we'll get into
it. And granted, everything's been resolved at that point. I mean, I guess now is an okay time to have sex. So
yes, but still, I mean, like after something like that, I don't know. I would still go against the rules, and I still would be creeped out at anything that opened or.
And we don't know how long it's been since, you know, Thanksgiving Day, I presume. I don't really know if it happened. I assume it happened on Thanksgiving Day, but I don't.
I know. I hate saying stuff that I'm not sure of since I only watched it once, but I'm pretty sure it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it had
to be.
Like, I mean, the fucking title is Thanksgiving. I mean, so it had to have been.
Yes.
Which is kind of weird because in theory, you would think the movie should actually be called Black Friday since that's what started Well, no, that's right. It started on Thanksgiving because they fucked up Black Friday. Never mind. And look at that. Eli does it again.
They did it on, which chef's kiss. But so, okay. So then we have, where were we? Julia's death. So then now is this the bait scene? Or wait, do they go to the VIP guy? Right?
Yeah, they go to the scummy guy and they get the
weapons.
The weapons. Oh no, that was actually technically before that because he runs in with the gun to save Julia. I think this is actually now where we get to the part where it's going to be the parade, where they're going to have the parade, and I like the idea. They're like, hey, why, you know, we don't want to be running for the rest of our lives, so let's go and set a trap. So this part I liked as well because it does tie back into the trailer. There is a scene where like a parade goes fucking bonkers. I love, the only thing I will say, I almost feel like this was like a little bit of like I was like, what are we doing here? Eli, I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like the trailer, or like, sorry, not the trailer, the parade's going on, and I'm like, okay, clearly something's going to happen. And they did identify that the kid who plays the turkey was there that night. And literally as I'm watching it and I'm thinking this, I'm like, why is there a guy dressed as a psycho clown? And then 6 seconds later, the psycho clown chops his head off with an axe.
Okay.
And I'm like, wait. Of all the costumes that you could have picked, this is the one time dressing as John Carver would have made perfect sense, but now you're like psycho clown.
Okay, well, I'm here for it because it was very reminiscent of Hell House, like the color and everything, and like the crazy the mask kind of reminded me like Killer Clowns, but that's like one of my favorite scenes because I was so like, okay. So I was so wrapped up in the parade because I'm like, I know something's going to happen. And it had the I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes when Helen's in the parade and they're all like looking around. I was like, yes, because it, again, a nod to, classic slashers. And I was like on edge. I'm like, something is going to happen. And I paid I love the difference that you were like, something's up. And I'm like, oblivious to it. And then when the turkey's like, oh, blah, 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 then his head got chopped off. I was like, I literally out was like, what? And everyone in the theater was like, holy shit. And then chaos ensued.
Next time you watch it, the Psycho Clown is on screen before the murder happens. And I was like, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, it can't be. I'm like, why is there a guy dressed as a Psycho Clown? And then I was like, oh, because he's a psycho clown. Okay.
I didn't even like put a thought into it, but I just to maybe think of what I was thinking, I thought it's a parade. So maybe they just threw in some like random things. Cause I mean, like our parade back where I used to live in this like little town up north, they had the most random shit. Like they would have the most random things in like a summer parade and a winter parade. So maybe I was just like used to a smorgasbord of shit in a parade.
I mean, and that's, I mean, maybe because I mean, like, I also really like the Plymouth Rock float, which is just the scumbag dude, like playing like heavy metal. I know, and all like the old people were kind of like into it, like yeah.
Yes, but then like after the guy gets his head cut off, which I thought was so awesome, then the whole accident happens and the thing goes through the guy's head. Yeah, like.
Oh, and the kids are getting sprayed by their grandpa's blood. Oh, it's so dark.
It's so dark, but it's so amazing. Like, I love that scene. That scene literally just like was icing on the cake. I'm like, this movie could stop right now and I'd be happy. I would have been fine.
The scene which is, I believe, happens in the trailer, the fake trailer, but like with the turkey and just the blood, like, and like it's a turkey with its head cut off. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
It's great. Yes. So then we get to the scene where, I mean, there's a whole thing where like they find like which I was like, it's kind of an irrelevant scene. Also, well, I guess the only reason the scene has to exist, all right, is where they do the scene where they're like, we found it, we're triangulating his position, and then they find that there's like a fake cell phone. Yeah. Because this is the part that I had to laugh at. From the beginning, I mean, like as a viewer, the movie could only possibly end in one place.
Right. Exactly.
The Carver house that was shown earlier. So I loved that at the end fight scene or whatever, when she escapes the house, she's like, oh, we're at the Carver house. I wanted to be like, you deserve to die now. If you didn't know where you were, you deserve to die now.
Done. Like, you stupid. Yeah, I know. And that's fair to say, because of course, I mean, the commercial was being shot there. Yep. Then it got like destroyed. So
he's dressed as John Carver.
Yes. But I completely agree with you. It's like, if you don't know what the hell's going on, girl, then just, but this scene has one of, I think, not like a kill, but it has my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Let's set it up. Which one are we talking about? Because I wonder if we're going to be on the same page, because I'm starting to think we're not.
Damn. So this is the scene though with the mother.
Okay. So
the stepmom, right?
I enjoyed that scene. Is that your favorite?
So it's not the kill. And it's not like the whole, when all the people are at the dinner. It was like her in the
roasting,
prepping to be prepped for dinner. Yes. But when he takes his mask and he burns it.
Yeah.
And he puts it on his face. I was like, oh, like, I don't know what that did to me, but just adding that like scarred, like charred look on the mask. The slasher lover inside of me just went crazy. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking epic. I loved it.
I loved it too. The only thing I didn't get though is I was like, why go through all that? And then literally in the next scene, they show him take it off and put a fresh one on. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what are we doing here?
It ruined it because I wanted him to have that charred face the whole time. But something, I can't even explain what it was that I loved, but just when he did it, and then it was like slow motion and he put it slower motion.
Yeah. And it's like, and I believe he did it accidentally. He just put it like, he rested his mask on top of the
and then he
human-sized oven.
He's prepping his turkey. Oh my god.
Okay, let's talk about it. Like, okay, like what about the mom? I actually kind of like the mom. Like, you feel bad for them. Like the mom who's a stepmom who's a total bitch the whole movie. In this scene, I'm like, okay, she's fighting for her life. She's not like, I'm like, again, these over-the-top characters are actually acting like human beings at the end of this movie.
Yes, but I did not like her. I did not like her in the beginning, so I was like, good, roast that fucking bitch up.
Oh, yeah.
But then when I was like watching her like squirm and then put myself in that position. And then I looked over at Roz, and that's when, like, this is the one time that she had this serious look. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about, because like when the skin started to burst, I looked over at her, and she was not into that. And I'm like, I know, babe. Like that was kind of intense to think about yourself being in an oven.
And I think it was done right though, because here's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
You, on paper, you write down, he bastes someone with butter and oil and
Herbs.
and herbs on a tray of vegetables and sticks them in a human-sized oven.
Oh yeah.
That could come off as very comical. And like the idea of it is comical. And like I was like, when I was watching, I was like, this is fucking nuts. And I love it. But also when it happens, you're also like, oh, like she is still like roasting alive.
I know. And like the way that it was like so like close in the shot, and you see the skin start to blister like a tomato. I was just like, oh my God, she has to like escape or something. Like there's no way that she's going to be a turkey. And then when he brings her to the table and like her crotch shot is right facing her husband, I was like, oh my God.
Yes. Okay. And let's get to that part. So yes, she brings a roasted ex-wife, or well, I guess she's ex now, and to the table, and he gives the whole speech and starts carving her up, and he's going to serve it. It's so like, I kind of was like, and I'm like, it's Eli. I'm like, make him eat it.
Yeah. Yes. I was waiting for that to happen. And I'm like, Roz, you might want to close your eyes for that one. But like when he cuts it off and then goes to like give it to him, and he just starts fucking puking on his gag, I was like, oh my God.
The only missed opportunity I want to say in this scene is I still feel like, okay, we got our main course. We got the turkey scene.
Yeah.
Something there needed to be a stuffing fucking thing happening.
Yep. Cranberry sauce.
A cranberry. Art owns mashed potatoes, so we're going to leave mashed potatoes to Art, but I'm like, you could have stuffed something into somebody.
And I was waiting for that. And maybe he'll do it in the next one. Maybe we'll get more of a Julie Child prepping, but like, and also too, not to completely skate over it, because I didn't say much, but like her chase scene was pretty intense in the house.
It was really good, actually.
I like that one.
She, like I said, she fights hard at the end, considering it's a character you'd think would typically not be that way, but she really gives it, she almost gets him, to be fair, like until he catches on to what's going on, and then like pierces through the wall.
Yes. But and I knew that was going to happen, because I love that tension building, because you're like, okay, this chase scene isn't going to end great. But then you're like, what's going to happen? Because you think maybe she's going to get away. And then that happens. And I was like, okay, that was awesome.
Yeah. And it was great. And all right, now I want to get to my favorite kill, which I don't know if it is yours, because I can't tell if this was what you were alluding to. But I love when he's finally got everyone around the table, and he's like, we're going to say something we're thankful for. And I love how quick it goes. There's not a ton of build up in this scene, but the dickhead, I don't want to call him bully, but he's just kind of like the asshole friend they have, who was great in the movie. The jock asshole.
Yes.
He was great, by the way. He played that part phenomenal.
Perfect.
But when he's just like, nope, and like it's like a 30-second build up, and then he just takes that meat hammer, and when I say he hits his head, and it just like explodes like a watermelon. And then he just starts hitting it again and again and again, and I was like, so quick, so effective. Yes. It was my favorite kill in the whole movie.
I love that one. It was not my fave, but like that was amazing. And then to have like the reaction of everyone watching and his girlfriend's watching, I was just like, this is just all of it. I'm not saying it's hard to narrow down a favorite, because I love every single kill, because it's a flavor to this perfect dinner. But that one was amazing, and I really enjoyed the parade.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And a part, again, that I like here, at the end of this movie, after the asshole jock gets his brain splattered with a hammer, everybody in that room survives. Like, even the dad, which I was like, holy shit, the dad survived?
Yeah. But realistic, I mean, yes, he is the one that owns the store that caused his lover to die, but it wasn't like a direct, I guess you could say. It wasn't like, I mean, he really did hold the key of what happened, because he could have said it's closed if he wasn't
Yeah.
greedy.
I think it's kind of cool because it shows some restraint
Mhm.
in the writing process, and also trusting that the actor, because I think the actor did a really, really good job of making you not necessarily forgive him, but
Yes.
flipping the humanity switch on for that character, where the last kind of when he starts telling his ex-wife, or whatever, I keep calling his ex, starts telling his wife that, like, no, you don't call the fucking shots anymore. I call
Yep.
the shots. Store's
Yep.
closed. We're doing this. We're not hiding. You and then again by the end when he's literally covered in puke and he's got his wife on the table and he's next. He's literally got like the hammer behind him, and then his daughter starts to run and he's screaming like, run away, like leave me.
Yes.
Like, there, he did a great job of letting that character redeem himself, I thought.
Yes, and that redemption is huge, because you've seen in horror movies assholes that you're just like, fucking kill him. And then
Yes.
even when you see them killed, you're just like, oh, you should have done it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this, you're completely right. You feel like there are people that have a heart, even though they might see something blinding in front of them.
Yeah.
After circumstances as much as, this, you see this. I like that. I did. I love that there was a body count, but there was some saving graces. And I think that's what made it such a good movie.
There was definitely some restraint there, and I thought that was good.
Mhm.
We're in the end game now. Now we're at, let's skip
Yeah.
ahead. She figures out who the killer is because he's got sticker burrs on him and he was running through the woods.
Mhm.
Which, as someone who has a shit ton of sticker burrs in his backyard, I sympathize because they're all over my fucking house.
They're horrible. Does Ripley go out and get them all over him?
Ripley doesn't, because Ripley has sleek hair, but we
Oh.
have a full-size giant poodle who basically is at times a walking tumbleweed, like in an old West movie. But yes, she figures it out. We've already talked about our thoughts on the killer. What do you think about the whole end game? Because it's not super long, but like the chase between her and Bobby, it's her and Bobby trying to get away from Patrick Dempsey,
Yeah.
and it's the final confrontation. What do you think about it?
I thought it was good. I thought that it didn't carry on for 45 minutes. And then it wasn't like super anticlimactic. I like the reveal, how she found out, the whole like technology thing of her recording him live. I thought that was kind of clever.
I like that reveal because it brought it into, like, you feel like that's what you would do in that scenario.
Absolutely. Because like, put yourself in that situation. I don't know if I would be able to think that quickly, because I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah.
When you're scared, like think of when you're truly scared. And maybe you're scared from watching a movie, but like being in a situation like that, I would never want to be in, because that's fucking terrifying.
No.
But like, good thinking. And I like, because that's something that you would think to do in a calm, thoughtful state. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah, no, like in a crisis situation, like
yeah.
it's yeah, and she's supposed to be smart and everything.
Yeah. And
Um,
I thought it was good. And I don't know. I felt like it was a good ending. Not like it was anything memorable that I'd be like, like talking about like Seven with an ending, but I thought for what we got, I thought it did it justice, and I thought it did it in a good way to open up a sequel if needing to, or like a My Bloody Valentine ending type deal.
close it and it never opens again.
Yes.
I think it did a good job with that. I will say, I said I only had like one or two like true critiques.
Mhm.
My biggest critique is the last 10 minutes of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
While I still enjoyed it, I think the ending is the weakest part. I'd maybe give the ending like the last 10 minutes of the movie. I think I might give like the rest of the movie. I'm probably giving like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I would probably give if I just broke off the last 10 minutes, I'd give that section like a 7. Like, it was fine, but like,
Yeah.
I just felt like it did feel like it kind of was rushed a little bit.
Yes.
Like, they had clearly been teasing that she was going to shoot the fucking gun, so I knew that was coming. I love the idea because it was very funny with the turkey like slowly inflating, and then like she shoots it, and like, I don't know, it was kind of an anticlimactic explosion a little bit, and
Mhm.
I really will be honest, I didn't want there to be as soon as I heard like, oh, the bodies must have been incinerated, I was like, by a turkey? Like, it wasn't a fucking atomic bomb. It was a turkey filled with fucking, like, I don't know. I'm assuming
flammable gas.
helium. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I died when I saw that turkey inflating. I was like, there's no fucking way that this could be the end of the movie. And then when it happened and she shot the musket, I was like, okay, that's fucking cool. But like, you're right. It would have been maybe like, I don't know. I don't even want to go so far as to say like, you know, like a Halloween 2 ending where the hospital blows up and then Michael's walking out in the, you know, fire suit and you see that he's still alive and then he falls down. I had a feeling that they were going to say, oh, we couldn't find the body. I had a feeling that that was going to transpire because of how quickly everything happened. Because you didn't
and they already started teasing it. They already started teasing because they started to show all like the firefighters that were like completely covering their faces and whatnot.
Yes.
But I kind of wanted to just see, I wanted the Scream moment. I wanted him to come back for one more attempt. That's what I wanted.
Like in the bedroom, like when the door opened and he's like, are you okay? And then have like turn back and Patrick, he's standing there burnt, you know, with like a knife or something. That would have been cool to see that, but maybe not giving us that. I don't know. It left me kind of like, I don't want to say confused, but I was just like, I don't know how I feel about that. But overall, it didn't like sway
I'm with you.
the movie for me because I feel like either way, it's going to be a conversation and controversial. If it's a standalone and we're going to be talking about like the thing, who was really infected? Was it, you know what I mean? Like that type of discussion. And it'll be 20 years later. Well, what happened or, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or it's set up for a sequel.
And I'm with you. Again, it didn't affect my overall because I'm still giving the movie a 9 out of 10. I fucking loved it. It was great. It's my favorite movie, not just horror movie of the year. It's my favorite movie of the year, and it's my favorite horror movie of the last. I guess what fucking Scream 5 was 2019, I think. So 3 years. So that's pretty goddamn good. But I just thought that the ending was a little weak, and then the like, I'm not a big fan of like dream endings, you know.
Yeah.
So we get the Friday the 13th ending that, in my opinion, only worked in Friday the 13th and has never worked ever since. But what did you think about the little dream ending thing?
I mean, for what it was, it could have been a lot worse, or it could have been just nothing. So I'm okay with it. But like you said, I think it only works in certain situations. In this one, I could have had, you know, what seemed like a dream sequence, but then have him actually physically be there. Or like even so much, I know this is extreme because I just went like, oh, it wouldn't have mattered. But if he would have been standing in the doorway with like her dad's head,
I would have been fine with that.
Or that like the boyfriend standing there and he like slices him open or something like, and then it's just her screaming and then it cuts because so did he kill her? You know, then it could have picked up, or that could have been left for an open discussion and I would have been fine with that.
So my only worry is because again, I am totally 100% fine if this stays a one and done.
Yes.
But there's the greedy part in me that sees the Scream, the everything I loved about Scream 1 in this. And I'm like, if it continued on, and granted, I mean, it's going to be goofy, but it is a goofy premise.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I like some of these characters. I'd like to see them more, but I'm like, now I feel like that's going to force you into a box that made the same box that made the, I Know What You Did Last Summer into a goddamn joke, because now you're going to have, you know, burnt Billy running around fucking, you know, like it just like now the killer has to be him, right? Like now you've made it. And also, I don't know if you're going to get Patrick Dempsey for all these movies.
Right. And that's the thing is like, so, but then here's my theory on this too. I'm totally with you because it's like, and for me, and this is just personal opinions, but like I would have been like when you say carry on like Scream, I would have been fine with Scream if it was 1, 2, and 3 and then done. Like I would have been happy with that storyline because then I feel like, you know, whatever. And now we're on 6, but like,
and we're never gonna get an ending to that fucking story, which pisses me off. But yes,
ever exactly because that's a whole nother episode that we could go on.
Yeah.
But I don't like. There's stuff that you could do with this movie that doesn't necessarily have to set us up for the typical, okay, now the killer shouldn't be alive, but he's alive and he's back for revenge. You could take it so far as to the guy that was married to the girl that was going to leave him, he
Mhm.
gets pissed off, right? Because all this shit
He
happened, and
finds out about
he
it,
finds
or
out about it, and then he's a scorn lover, and then now he's on the prowl, and he wants to like, do you know what I'm like? I don't know how.
yeah, there's other ways you could go, you know.
Yes, and
Or
that could be like,
he had a brother, or Billy went fucking nuts. Truly, Billy was nuts, and he was actually, because truthfully, you know, I mean, Billy never really attacked the other guy. He just helped drive away. You know, Billy, maybe he was in on it the whole time. Or not Billy, Bobby. I'm sorry, I've got
yes,
Scream in the brain.
but yes, but like Bobby, and I would be, if it was something like that that was plausible, that had like a sensible tie into it, not just like some random person that we never met, and it's like the cousin is the killer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yes, if Billy had some connection and we find that backstory, cool. Or like the guy that found out about those two cheating, I'd be happy with that. Not some random person that was at the diner that day and is a copycat, right?
Here's how you save Scream. Scream 7, John Carver's the killer. Boom.
Oh. Well, no, I just want to send them to space at this
I'm
point.
also
Just
down with
fucking
that.
send them to fucking space or send them to the Arctic. I don't know. I don't think that anything is going to save that franchise now, which
Yeah,
is,
I
God,
agree.
I
I think
say
it's
that
dead.
with such like a heavy heart because I love Scream so
We
much.
we do need to do a longer form discussion on it, but I know you've got a hard out time, which we are rapidly approaching.
Okay.
Um,
I enjoyed this discussion and I will gladly be tired tomorrow because this was fun and I'm glad that I got to talk about it with someone.
well, I had a blast, and I really, I think we need to get into the Scream of it all, because that's
1000%.
pretty big for both of us and horror
Yes.
fans in general. But we are going to do that on the next episode. Maybe we'll do that on the live and just get yelled at by everybody.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. I love that.
All right, Jordan, do you have anything you want to say before we take off?
I just want to say that this movie is my favorite of 2023. I'm so thankful that Eli Roth uh, just took this heart and soul and took this idea and gave us and gave himself what he wanted. He wanted a slasher in between. We wanted, a full length movie after the trailer after 16 years. Eli Roth, we fucking love you.
Fuck yes.
And you know what? You never know because he might hear this. I know we joke a lot. And we say, "Oh, he'll never hear this." You never know because when I share things, he fucking shares it to his page. He
Mhm.
likes shit. I sent him. Rosalind made a John Carver mask as soon as she got back. That's what she wants to
I
be
saw
for
the
Halloween.
drawing. Yeah,
Yeah, and I sent it to him, and he hearted it. He loved it.
he's wonderful.
I'm putting that in my own context because he just looked at it and was like, "Cool," and hearted it. But like, that's awesome to like be who you are and actually acknowledge.
I think he has a very strong connection with the fan base and
Yes,
realizes that I think he very much still is one. I mean, just look at
yes.
all, he still does stuff for like Shutter, and Shutter, it's relatively small compared to, the level of filmmaker he is. So,
Exactly. So I just wanted to like throw it out there that I'm so thankful for this movie. This revitalized my horror depression that I had this year, and I loved it. That's all I want to say.
cheers to you, Eli. We're big fans, and we are the Future Creatures. We are DTF. Figure out what that means. And we will see you next week.
Yes. Bye,
Bye.
guys.